I tell you, back in the day, everybody had those rubber bands, the big bands, and they'd be in there. All the muscle heads would be pulling the bands and stuff. I come in and I give them this deal. Oh, oh, oh.
Now I've
I got to get
had
that thumb working. I should have insured it with Lloyd's of London, the thumb,
Oh,
That
a
would
lot
have
of
been a
people were
good
doing that.
gimmick. That would have been a good gimmick. And then the guy could always be like breaking my thumb. But that's why I'm not in Sanford. Great idea, Duggan. Tell your story walking, buddy.
You could have worked that thing too. You could have had somebody break the thumb for real, and then you get a payoff from Lloyd's of London.
Brother, holy shit. It's pro wrestling. It's not like nowadays the kids, their nose over here, they're all red and black. And I'm like, boys, it's a work. You're not going to convince anybody it's real no matter what the hell you do out there. Really? But that's a different business. Back in the old days, it was like, brother, loosen up out there, man. Or you're like, hey, yeah, bend over and get something. Go for a backdrop.
That would slow somebody down in an area, that's for sure.
Well, you always go for a back. I tell you a quick Steve Kern story, man. Remember Steve Kern?
Love Steve Kern.
The what the hell they call him?
One of the Fantastics.
Used to chew the black licorice and everything. Anyway, the Skinner, when I first broke in on Big Jim Duggan, who say he was before he was Skinner, he was like a Hollywood blonde guy. He says, I'll do anything but a backdrop. And I'm like, yeah, cool, brother. And I'm green as grass. I get out there, I do my 1-2 moves. I go blank, I forget, I throw them in. Like, whole backdrop. I went down for the backdrop. Shit! He kicked my head off. Holy Christ. 35 years later, I see Steve Kern. Brother, remember that backdrop? I'll never call another backdrop with you, man. You got the point across.
Now, like at this time, you're young and green, but you're also fresh out of college football, wrestling. Like you're a big tough man. When another grown man kicks you like that, are you like coming up mad, or are you like, okay, I screwed up?
No, I knew I was screwing up. Yeah. Okay. Manny Fernandez, I knew guys that took it. Looking back at it, people that took advantage of me. Angelo Mosca up in the old WWF. I think he took advantage of me. I know he took advantage of me in the ring. Stretched my ass with me not realizing it. Manny Fernandez, when I was green, I took some liberties. But
what kind of stuff was Manny doing?
He was just real snug on me, more snug than he needed to be. And I just thought he was being snug. And looking back at it, he gave me an arm drag. It hurt my shoulder pretty bad. He drove me into the mat. Little things, man. But looking back at it, as an old timer, I'm like, yeah, he did that on purpose. Look, when I had that trouble with Matt Bourne, he came, boom, hey, boom. I think you're doing that on purpose.
It is weird when you're new to the business because you'll step into the ring with a veteran and you're kind of just trusting them. Like, okay, well, this guy wants to have a good match.
But I can understand, the guys like we said before, Jose Estrada and Johnny Rods. I almost apologized to them, man, because I didn't know what I was doing, and I was so snug with them. But it's a fine line. You want to make it look real, but that's the old thing. Hacksaw, I saw you throw a punch. You missed the guy by this much. I said, yeah, but you see, when I hit him by that much, it goes both ways.
Man, it's as I'm starting to acclimate myself to the wrestling ring. It's you kind of discover something new every time you get in there. One thing I discovered was not to let somebody who's as green as I am give me a leg drop. Because Jim, if you were to guess at what happened to me whenever I allowed somebody to give me a leg drop, what would you guess?
Well, they landed on you, brother.
With their entire ass on my
head. Yeah, shit, man. There's a reason it's the indies. You try to stay basic, but I was working with Mabel. Remember Mabel?
Yes.
Big Mabel, great big giant guy. And I was working with him on a big indie somewhere, and I had just got done with my kidney cancer. and they had to finish. They said he wanted to do the big splash on me, and I'm like, yeah, we don't need that, we can do something else besides the big splash. I'll sell it like the big splash, but he don't have to give me the big splash. And Mabel came over to me, said, hey, he's very respectful, and I'll promise you I'll take care of you. Don't worry. So boom, he came laying there. Boom, he hit the rope. He like eclipses his son, Big Mabel, up in the air. Boom, boom, here he comes, crashes on me. I tapped him on the side. I said, "Give me another, brother." He took good care of it. He got up and he gave me the second one, man. So it's a fine line, but yeah, you want to work with somebody you trust. Like DiBiase, I tell that story all the time. DiBiase and I weren't supposed to get juice. I hit him in the nose that night. It was like I cut his throat. Blood is just pouring out his nose. He's like, Duggan! And I'm like, unlike Matt Bourne or somebody like that, Buzz Sawyer, that would escalate.
Because you didn't know if they were doing it to be assholes or if they slipped or what, right?
Right, yeah. You were really on your toes with them. Yeah, that's why it's always good to work with somebody you know and you trust. Because, if it's your buddy drops you on your head, you're like, on the ride home, you're like, brother, what the fuck you doing out there? Don't do that. And, of course, now, the old deal, if you get a potato, you give a receipt.
That's right. That's right. See, I held off on the receipt when the guy dropped his ass on my head because I was like, I know he's just green and he didn't do it on purpose. But I suppose if it was like a ring veteran, I kind of have to do it because you have to like establish yourself, right?
Well, not a blatant punch in the nose, but when you give him an uppercut or a clothesline or something, you lay it in too.
Okay. Just to let him know.
Yeah, nothing blatant where you're like, you son of a bitch. You throw him in, go clothesline, and lay that in. And then gets the point across. Okay. If it's somebody you've never worked with.
See, that's good advice, Jim, because in my head, I was like, okay, I'll just bring it a little bit harder whenever I punch next time. But that's not it.
Well, I've been, who knows now, the way it goes nowadays, it's a whole different deal. Years ago, even back when the Undertaker was having wrestlers' court, all the old timers are like, wrestlers' court? No, wrestlers' court. Is it held in the shower? That was wrestlers' court back in the day, man. Let's go into the shower.
Were you ever present for Undertaker's?
Who I just read was this, I think was it Medusa or Dark Journey or somebody just put out the story about Sting and Dick Slater in the shop. Yeah, in the bathroom. Yeah.
Were you there for that?
Yeah, I was not in that dressing room, but I was in that building. It was Baton Rouge Centralplex. Yeah, I was in the other dressing room.
Did you see the after effects of it? Like
everybody did, brother. It's not like TV where you see these big fist fight and the guy shows up like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Even
Slater was selling, brother. He was selling big time.
Really?
He's like, my hands are so swollen up. My hands are, Jesus.
You got
People
me on
don't realize that's an after effect. I beat the guy's ass. Well, your hands, you can't open doors. Your hands swell up if you get into a real fight.
Rumor has it that the Ultimate
Hopefully
Warrior.
Hopefully not your head too much. Better your hands than your head.
Yeah, probably the other guy's head.
Yeah, hopefully.
Rumor has it that the Ultimate Warrior was present for that, but he was unable to help out his buddy Sting in the moment.
Well, I don't think, as long as somebody's not putting the boots to somebody, I don't think you let them fight.
Oh, okay.
They're too grown. They're two grown men. If they've come this far to where they're going to fight, go ahead. Unless that's the guy that usually gets the worst of it. Break it up. Break it up.
So that's just smart business. Stay out of it. Stay away from it.
Stay out of it, brother. Holy shit. Let it. And then it's over too. That's why when Watts almost forced Berserker and Butch Reed to fight, but that blew off all the steam. But they didn't need to fight. That was ridiculous. But Also, after you have a fight like that, like I said, neither one comes off clean. Neither one wants to fight again. So, but
Right.
yeah, no, I think if Warrior had jumped in, then other guys would have jumped on Warrior's ass.
Now, before we get into these fan questions, we're getting there, folks. You mentioned Undertaker's Wrestler's Court, and I know that you were there in like the 2000s, like mid 2000s. Were you ever present for Undertaker's
No,
Wrestler's
never
Court?
did one of the court deals. I just heard about them. Never participated in one. That's interesting, but it's great. I mean, if you're going to have a guy preside over a dressing room full of wrestlers, that'd be the man, Undertaker. He's a straight shooter.
Well, rumor has it that those things were gimmicked, and if you brought the Undertaker a fifth of Jack Daniels, he would maybe, lean toward your.
I don't think it was
defense.
a fifth of Jack Daniels. It was just an ounce. Oh, never.
Some sort of a party favor.
I don't know what the hell, right? No, I don't know. I was never there, but it seemed an odd way to do things, but it seemed to work, I guess, for him. And I think that nowadays, even the kids are much more professional. Our generation, we had Bob Sweetan. We had some really deviant people. Buck Robley. Buck was a friend of mine, but he was a sick puppy, I'll tell you. But I think nowadays the kids, because, the business is more than high school gyms, National Guard armies. It's a worldwide industry. So, yeah, you got to be more professional to perform at that level.
I think nowadays, unless you're like a super top guy, you'll get fired if you get into a fight backstage. So it's a whole other world now.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Well, human resources and all that stuff. Yeah, and that was changing with WC. That was Scott Hall's deal. He's like, "What are they going to do? Beat me up?" I know. Jerry Sag's probably knock your tooth out, though.
You're not untouchable.
That's when it started to change. Yeah. Yeah. And Knobs, there was a poor guy that was running TV, and he looked a little like Montel Williams. And Knobs would always come in and go, "Hey, Montel, how you doing? Hey, Montel, how you doing?" And the guy ended up going to Human Resources and suing Turner Broadcasting and get a big payoff, But
holy shit!
I don't know where that came from. That's a story out of nowhere. Holy smokes!